Hi and welcome to this video. Today I want to show you how I created a sequence like this, and in the end I will give you, in my opinion, the most important ingredients when it comes to producing a sequence like this on your own. Did you recognize some of the shots I used already? If yes, tell me in the comments which one is your favorite one. But for now, let's get into it. The first angle is the so-called overhead shot. Means the camera is placed 90 degrees above a scene and films the whole scene from top down to bottom. The biggest difference to aerial shots is that the camera is much closer to the scene and where the action takes place. I found out that this angle is a perfect way to show your subject and the action from another and different kind of perspective, just because it's not that hard anymore to produce scenes like this and angles like this on your own. The first way to achieve shots like this is by putting them on tripods that are able to do this. For example, like this Manfrotto tripod. Just look out if the tripod is able to flip the head by 90 degrees and then you're ready to go. The positive thing when you work with tripods is that you can do these shots nearly anywhere, just because you shoot them on your tripod. Downside is that you don't have that much flexibility, especially with wide shots, just because you can't put the legs of a tripod that high. The second way is by working with a C-stand, or in my case with a cheaper light stand. The positive thing, you have much more flexibility when it comes to perspective and wider shots. The downside is you have to carry a C-stand anywhere you go. In both ways, either you're working with a C-stand or with a tripod. Make sure you have a counterbalance with you and that you work with them, otherwise your camera can fall down very easily. And the third way how to achieve these kinds of shots would be just by filming handheld. You just film the subject straight from top down to bottom and hold your camera as still as possible. The downside is, if you don't hold it that calm and still, you can get shaky footage too easily. The second tip I want to introduce you is the so-called bottom view. At least that's the name that I found here on the internet. If you have a better name for it, please let me know. This angle is filmed from down up and gives the viewer a new understanding of the object and the action that takes place. I started using this kind of angle when I started filming product and food videos, and I found out that this technique works the best. First of all, you want to protect your camera from any liquids or food or other stuff. Therefore, I would recommend to use a kind of glass or any plastic plate which you place between your subject and your camera. The more movement you add, the more dramatic the shot gets. Therefore, I highly recommend to shoot scenes like this in 50 or even 100 frames per second to get the most out of the slow motion. Because of this kind of angle, I would highly recommend to use a wider lens, like 24mm, maybe even wider, and to put the focus on manual, because you want to avoid that the focus shift happens while you're filming this scene. The so-called trunk shot is a shot where the camera is positioned inside a trunk, giving the viewer a nice and unique perspective what the subject is up to do. This shot was made popular by Quentin Tarantino in films like Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, and is now used very often in films on here on YouTube. Of course, I didn't use a trunk at all this time, but you can use any kind of objects that give the viewer a unique perspective of what the subject is up to do. For example, drawers, fridges, or even trunks. I also like to shoot scenes like this with a wide angle lens to show much of the surrounding, and in the best case to frame the subject in a nice way. You can use this kind of shots for any action and movement related scenarios, just because it gives an unusual and I think quite cool perspective of what's going to happen. Okay, so you might ask yourself now, why is it important to film in so many different unique angles? It's the easiest way to enhance your cinematography by including as many perspectives and angles as possible. Try to film any scene in 3 to 5 different angles, and when you're cutting them together, make sure that you cut into the movement. That's just the easiest way how to hide any cuts, and that you make a fluent and nice and good looking video. Alright, these were my tips how you can create unique angles and perspectives when filming yourself. I'm curious to know which one is your favorite angle, which one is your favorite perspective. If you like this video, it would be awesome if you like it, if you could subscribe to this channel if you like this kind of content. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you hopefully in the next video.